And welcome techies. This is Sambhav here. And in today's session, we are going to discuss a very interesting and very important portion of base SAS, which is called as functions. Right? It is really important for you for both aspects. Either if you are attending for interview or you are going to write your certification, it is really important portion. Right? So please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you will get the notification whenever I upload a new video. So let us go ahead and see what are the things we are going to discuss today. So in today's session we are going to discuss this followings, which is what is function, what are the different types of functions we have, what is the general syntax of it, and then we will focus today only on numeric function, and that to few of them such as min, max, sum, mean. We will see advantages and the range specification method. So let's get started. So a very simple definition of function could be it is nothing but a special module that returns a value after computation. That means function will help you to make your life easy while doing any kind of computation. Let it be a date value, let it be a numeric value, let it be a let's say character value or time value, whatever it is. It will do the computation very fast and it will make your life really very easy. Now, SAS has got a lot of functions. There are somewhere close to 400 functions we have. But practically it will not be possible for me to discuss all the 400 functions what we have, or approximately 400 functions. So what I have done is I have actually selected most commonly used function, keeping in mind that what are the most commonly functions used or asked in your interview, or the most commonly functions asked in your certifications. So talking about the types of functions, so the functions can be broadly categorized into three types. If you read books, there would be so many different types of categorization they would have mentioned, like numeric function, character function, date function, time function, truncation function, scientific functions, and so on and so forth. But in order to simplify, I have just categorized them in three parts: numeric, character, and date and time. So as the name suggests, numeric, character, and date and time, it would be very much clear to you by this time that we are going to use these functions for different types of data, right? Below is the general syntax of functions, like function name. So if you want to have different function names are nothing but what is the function you are going to use, right? And then the arguments which will be passing to the function, and vname is nothing but a variable name which will store the result of this particular function. So once we apply the function over this arguments, so we will be storing the result into this particular variable. Now let's see what these arguments can be. These arguments can take different types of values. For example, it could be a numeric variable. These arguments could be a numeric value. It could be a date value. It could be character value. It could be numeric, character, or date variables. It can take so many different types of values. It can take hexadecimal values, and so on and so forth. So in today's session, we will focus mostly on numeric function. So this is a list of functions which we are going to discuss in our session, like min, max, sum, mean, int, ceil, floor, round, abs, largest, smallest, round, lag, diff. So many of them are there. Guys, in this session I will only be talking about these four functions. The rest of the functions I'll talk in the other videos. Now one of the very important thing for you to remember is function work row wise. They don't work column wise. Again, I'm saying function work row wise and not column wise. What do we mean by this? Let us see. Let's say, for example, I am printing sasl.class data cell, sasl.class data set. We have seen this data set earlier as well. So you see it has got 5 variables: name, sex, age, height, and weight. Now what if I want to find the total age? What is the average of the age? What is the total age? Or what is the minimum height, maximum height, right? Guys, it will not be possible for us to find it by using the sum function, min function, mean function, max function directly, because these values are spread over columns. They are not spread over rows, and function work row wise. Now I'm not saying that it cannot be found. It can be calculated for column, but using some different methods which I'll be discussing in the some other video, right? Now let's start with the very basic and the simple function, which is min and max. So as the definition says, it returns the smallest non-missing values, and maximum also returns the highest non-missing values. This is a syntax which I have already told you earlier. So let us try these functions by writing few programs. So data, let's say for example function 1, and let's say I'm having some values as a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20, c is equal to 30, correct? And let me use a run statement to end it, and let's print the data set and see how does it look like. Proc print data is equal to function 1, run. So if I execute this program, you will be able to see the result. A very simple data set, 3 variables with 3 values a, b and c. Now if I want to find the minimum value or the maximum value of it, which is a min and the max function, how we can do it? So let's say for example I'm using data, let's say result, let me use it here itself by to create a new data set. So let's say total underscore 1, sorry, we are going to find the minimum, so let it be min underscore 1 is equal to, so min underscore 1 is nothing but the variable where we are going to store the result, and then I'll use the function name min, and then I'll pass the argument. So these arguments could be the variable or it could be the values. So we will try with both and see how it works, a comma b comma c. Now guys, you must be very much careful that when you're using multiple variables here, you must separate them with comma. This is really required in function. Similarly, if I have to find maximum, max underscore 1, just you have to use the max function and then pass the arguments a comma b comma c, right? And now if I execute the code, we will be able to see the result, and the result will show you which is the minimum value and what is the maximum value. So in this series, the minimum value is 10, which is shown here, and the maximum value is 30, right? Now guys, here in this example, I have used all of them. All these arguments are numeric variables. What if I want to include numeric constant? Let's say for example, if I am giving here minus 10 and another value as 100, right? Similarly, I'll pass minus 10 and 100, right? Now if I execute this code, definitely my minimum value would be minus 10 and the maximum value would be 100. Let us see if we are getting the result. Let's cross check the result. Wow, so we have got it. So minimum value is minus 10 and the maximum value is 100. Now another important point. What if I say d is equal to a missing value? D is a missing value and I pass d in both the functions, min and max. Is it going to make any changes? Missing value, I'll have to represent it with a period operator or a dot. So if I include d in my function, or if I pass d as an argument of this function, is there any changes we are going to see in the result? Let's have a look at it. Now guys, see here there is no change in the data set, no change in the result. Now sometimes you might have read that missing value will be considered to be as the minimum value in the series of data set. But guys, when it comes to function, it is not considered to be as the least or the minimum value. It is actually eliminating the missing values and applying the function over these particular values. That means these two functions are applied only till here, and d, since it is a missing value, so SAS is able to ignore them, right? The next function which you are going to see is sum and mean. So it returns the arithmetic sum or total of non-missing values. Similarly, mean, it is a returns the mean, not the highest, I'm sorry, mean of non-missing values. Let us do a program to understand this. So let me just copy till here, so it will be easy. So function 2, and let's say I am calculating sum, right? I am calculating sum of it. So sum underscore 1 is equal to sum of a comma b comma c. Same thing what we have done earlier in the previous program. Only thing is that here the function name changes. Now here the next one is mean. So let me write mean underscore 1 is equal to mean of a comma b comma c. So again the same thing, only difference is that I am changing the function. So here I was using min max, here I am using sum and mean, and you see the arguments. Now let me calculate it. Run proc print data is equal to function 2. Run. So we will be getting the result. Okay, so we have got the result 60, which is 10 plus 20 30 plus 30 60, and then the mean is 20, which is nothing 60 divided by 3. Now let us add a missing value here and see the impact on the result dot, right? So here also I will pass the argument d so that it will include the missing value, and let us calculate the result, right? Now guys, you will notice that we have got the result. Now some people would be confused with the mean. What they think is, what they will be thinking is 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus the missing value. So 60 divided by 4. 60 divided by 4. So it should be 15. Correct? No guys. Please remember mean is 20. That is one of the common mistake I have seen people would be making. There is a difference between a missing value or a 0. A simple example for you to understand is, you know Gautam Gambhir or Virat Kohli. He is one of the star batsmen of Indian cricket team. Now let's assume that till today his batting score is 80. Average batting score is 80. I am sorry if I am not giving the correct figure. Just as an example. So let's assume that till today his batting average score is 80. Now assume that he is not playing for the next 3 matches or next 10 matches. He is not playing the match itself. So is it that after 10 matches his average will reduce? No, his batting average still remains the same. He is not even participating. That means he is missing, right? Yes, his average would have got reduced if he is out on 0. That means if this value is 0, then my average would have got reduced. If I execute this, now you see that there will be an impact on the mean. Initially it was 20, now it is 15. So please keep in mind that if it is a missing value, it will not impact the mean. So it will still be 20. So please understand the difference between the missing value and the 0. Correct? Now guys, I can also do this calculation. I can also calculate sum and mean using basic mathematical formula. Agreed? Let us try to do that. Sum underscore 2 is equal to, in spite of using functions, let's use mathematical formula. So let's say I'm saying a plus b plus c plus d. Similarly here, if I have to calculate mean, so mean underscore 2 is equal to a plus b plus c plus d divided by 5, or let's say 4, right? Now if I execute this code, what will be the result? Let's have a look at it. Guys, you will be surprised to see that I am not getting any result for sum underscore 2 where I have used mathematical formula. Similarly, I am not getting any result for mean underscore 2 where I have used mathematical formula. What is the reason? The reason is very simple. The reason is very simple. It means that mathematical formula, mathematical operators cannot handle missing values. Mathematical operators cannot handle missing values, whereas functions can easily handle missing value. So this is actually one of the advantage of function over the arithmetic operators, which I have mentioned here, the advantages of functions over mathematical formula. one very nice advantage, or one very good advantage what we have, is that functions are really very handy to use. You don't have to memorize the formula, right? Let's say for example square root and all those things, you don't have to memorize the formula, or we are doing some complicated calculations, you will not have to do that. Punching the formulas also becomes very difficult sometimes. So functions are really very handy to use. Second, functions can easily handle missing values, right? Now guys, another very important thing which we are going to study today is range specification for functions. Now I am having a test data. Let's say for example, let me print it. Print data is equal to test1 run. Now in this data, what I have done is I have created few subjects like English, Maths, History, Physics, Chemistry, Biology, and there are these are the different subjects, and sorry, this should be marks, it should not be subjects. So assume these are the different marks over here. So these are the different marks. So what we are going to do is now assume that I have to calculate the sum of English marks, sum of maths, sum of history, sum of physics, and so on and so forth. Now guys, I'm telling you once again, you cannot find the sum like this, that means over a column, because function work row wise. I'm not saying that it cannot be calculated, it can be calculated, which I'll tell you in the next video. But in today's session, let us see how to calculate the sum of all these subjects. The variables are subject 1, subject 2, subject 3 up to subject 10. Now, according to the standard syntax what we have seen, so let me just write it, data function 3 set let's say test1. Now what I will have to do, let's say total underscore 1, or let's say total marks is equal to, now I will write sum. I will have to, in order to find the sum, I will have to specify the sum function. Now the problem starts from here. Now do you really think I'll have to specify all these values, subject 1, subject 2, subject 3 up to subject 10? Well, you might be convinced at this point of time that yeah, we may be able to specify, but assume that there were 100 rows, 100 columns we have. So in this particular row there are 100 values. It would become really very difficult for us to specify the value. So what we will do is we will use the range specification method. So we will write of and then the variable name subject1. So I can write here subject underscore 1 hyphen subject underscore 10, correct? Now if I execute this, print data is equal to function 3 run. Now let us execute this code and see if we have got the result. Yes, of course we have got the result. See, the total marks for English is this much, total marks for maths is this much, total marks for this is this much, and we also have few missing values which is easily handled by the function. So in the range specification method, we will use inside the braces. See, inside the braces we have to specify the arguments, argument 1, argument 2. So in this case there will be 10 arguments. So sometimes if you have lots of arguments, you don't have to type each of the argument one by one, each of the variable one by one. It becomes really very tedious. So in those situations, specifying the range would be very easy. So it is pretty easy. You just use the keyword of and then starting till end. Now this you can be selective. Let's say for example you don't want to calculate for all the 10 subjects. You want to calculate it for only 5 subjects. So you can specify 5 as well. So in this case it will calculate sum for only 5 subjects. So you see it has reduced. So it has calculated only for the 5 subjects. So it completely depends on you that how many variables you want to specify in the range. So starting value can also be anything. Let's say for the last two, let's say for example I want to find it for subject 9 and subject 10. So you can give the starting value and then the end value. So you see here, if I execute this, it will work fine. See, it is calculating the sum for this much, so which is 170, 171, 91 plus 73, and so on and so forth. So in this situation, you know, range specification becomes really very easy. Let me take one more example for you. Function 4 and set test1, and let's say average underscore marks. So what will I do? I will specify the function mean and of subject 1 subject underscore 1 to subject underscore 10. So I want to specify all of them. Let's say I want to calculate the minimum marks as well, right? So equals to marks, and then I'll use the min and of from subject 1 to subject 10, right? Run. Now let's print it. Prop print data is equal to function 4 run, and let's say they will see the result. So why it works? Average. So you can see that. What is the minimum marks among all of them? I believe 45 is the minimum, 54 and so on and so forth. So I hope you really like this video, and thank you so much for your time, guys. And one more important thing, guys, I will be using different data sets in order to explain different concepts. So if you want these data sets or these programs which I'm writing in SAS, if you really want them, please share your email ID in the comment box so that I will mail the data sets and the programs to you, which will be really helpful for you to practice. Thank you so much for your time and patience, guys. You have a wonderful day ahead. And please, please, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day ahead.